world may look and feel very different, but we are back, baby. Let's hear it for Cardinal sports. So cheer with us as we celebrate some form of normalcy. As always, jump to that favorite spot as we bring you all the best saves and all the best shots for winners. Sports are back, and that's more than enough reason to celebrate. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And Joe, I'll tell you, it's been 6 months. So glad to be back. You're clean shaven, which you look great.
The first time in 6 months.
For the first time in 6 months. And before we get rolling, some big things happening today in high school sports.
Absolutely huge news. Obviously, it's been a while since we sat on this desk. March 16th, we did the review show for winter sports. We were hoping to be back in early April. Obviously, that didn't happen. We lost all of the spring sports season. We did get to see some baseball and softball in the summer. Obviously, kids very much affected in just a crazy summer that we had. Football, volleyball were out. Now today, the Minnesota State High School League has decided they are back in. So starting next week, football and volleyball teams will return to practice, and games will start in early October.
I'm excited, obviously, and I'm happy for the football players and the volleyball players too, because now they get an opportunity. They were going to play in the spring, but I don't think anybody wanted to wait until spring to get those seasons started. Now we've got, it's in a kind of an abbreviated season for both sports, but they get to play.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what that means for the quality of play. Obviously, most teams have probably been practicing together, hoping that this would come around, but we'll see what happens, especially in those early couple of games. But excited to see the Cardinal football team, obviously, made it to the state tournament last year, see what they have in store. But several teams have been going strong. Everybody else has been back in action for about 3 weeks. We had some delays here before we could get the show back together, make sure that we're following all proper protocols. We are going to skip the typical preview show, but we will be trying to spotlight each of the teams as we move through the fall season and hope to do that kind of on a weekly basis. But we've had a chance to see a couple of soccer games, a tennis match. The swimming and diving team started their season virtually. Their first 3 meets were virtual, them swimming at their pool while their opponents were at their pool, which obviously is very different. They had their first in-person meet just this past week, so a good time to bring everybody up to speed and get the show going again.
I mean, it's a different world that we live in today than it was 6 months ago, quite obviously. But the good thing is everybody's making the adjustments what they need to do. You talked about the swimming being virtually originally, and it's just kind of getting everybody to test the water, so to speak, and it's exciting to get back into action. And as the season unfolds, we'll have more and more to give.
Absolutely. We start with the girls tennis team. A lot of action already for the Lady Cardinals. They started against Maple Grove, a perennial power in the conference, and they lost that one 7-0. Ella Georgie, the only one to go into a third set against the Crimson. Then it was Osseo dealing them the same blow. A couple of players able to get to that third set. Ella Georgie again, along with Abby Ness at third singles. Then it was Andover. Cardinals come up losing 5-2 against Andover. Caitlin Severson and Ella Georgie at first and second singles get the 2 wins for the Cardinals. Then it was Elk River, another perennial power, and another lopsided loss for the Cardinals. They lose that one 7-0. So with a record of 0-4 on Friday the 11th, the Cardinals hosted crosstown rival Blaine, a close matchup that could easily go either way. CTN was there to cover the top 2 singles matches, featuring 2 of the Cardinals captains hoping to lead the team to a big conference victory. Both were able to control the tempo of their matches and score 2 big points for Coon Rapids. We start at first singles. Caitlin Severson in the far court. She forces Blaine's Molly Garber all over the court before Garber sends the lob long. This was a typical point for most of the first set. Severson controlling the tempo and moving Garber along until she mishit. relatively easy 6-1 win in that first set. Garber keeps it a little closer in the second. Nice cross-court winner just out of Severson's reach, made it 4-4, but that's all the closer it would get. Match point, Severson on the attack at midcourt again. Garber scrambles, but this is nowhere close. Severson wins in straight sets, 6-1 and 6-4, so she gets back-to-back victories at that top singles spot. Similar strategy for Ella Georgi at second singles. Sets up at the midcourt, uses her height and long arms to control the court. She also takes the first set 6-1. Another one that gets closer in the second set, Blaine's Grace Troy. Can't get this one past Georgi though. Cross-court winner gives Georgi a 5-4 lead. She closes it out after that. The serve for match point is not going to be returned. Georgi also wins in straight sets. Cardinals also got a win from Goldman and Nicholas at first doubles, but they lose a heartbreaker 4-3 to the Bengals.
Definitely a tough one to lose, and we talk about all those 4-3 losses that either side could have, and those are tough ones. Those are tough to get past. It was fun watching both those first and second singles players. Very different games. Ella Georgi at second single, more a powerful player. Severson at first single, I was really impressed with her ground strokes and the ability for her to rush the net and control the game from there too. Both very different players, but both a lot of fun to watch.
Well, and unfortunately, it wasn't one of those 4-3 games next time out. They saw Champlin Park and were blanked by the Rebels. Ella Georgi again going to 3 sets in that contest. But the Cardinals did get their first win last Thursday. It was in a 4-3 match, so 1-1 in 4-3 matches early on. There are your winners: Ella Georgi at second singles, Hinn at third singles, Abby Ness at fourth singles, and Goldman and Nicholas win in dramatic fashion. This one actually came down to, those were the only 2 matches that went to third sets, and the girls playing them didn't know exactly how close things were. Cardinals needed them both. Georgi got him the 6-4 win, and Goldman and Nicholas, after trailing in that tiebreaker, came back to win, and that's the one that gave the Cardinals their first win of the season at 4-3.
That was a good win for them, obviously, to get that last win after dropping that first set in the doubles match so handily and coming back and getting it the tiebreaker. Nice win for the Cardinals.
Well, the Cardinals will be at Centennial on Tuesday and at Anoka on Thursday. I mentioned the swimming and diving team, 4 meets in the books already, some records already shattered. I guess we shouldn't be surprised. No. Remember Megan Schultz last fall made sure that her name was on every swimming record in school history? Well, she's now whittling those numbers down, and she did it right away with conference records in both the 200 and 500 free, and a pool record in the 500 free with a time of 5:03.80. Ella Hacker had a couple of first place finishes as well in the 50 free and the 100 fly. Laura McCarr had third place in the 100 free. Cardinals won both the 200 and 400 free relays, but lose to a very strong Centennial team. Up next, it was Champlin Park and Megan Schultz. Again, 2 first place finishes for her. This time in the 200 IM and the 100 back. Ella Hacker also a pair of blue ribbons, 200 and 100 free medley relay, and the 400 free relay took first place. Josie Ingvoldson, a third place finish off the diving board, and Emma Schmidt was third in the 100 fly, but the Cardinals come up just short against Champlin Park, 95-83. Against Andover, even closer, more first place finishes for Schultz. Hartung was first place off the board. Ella Hacker had a first in the 500 free, a second in the 200 IM, and the 200 free relay team took first place again. First in-person meet of the year and the first victory of the year for the Cardinals swimming and diving team. They beat Rogers earlier, on Thursday last week, 95-89. Megan Schultz, first place in the 200 IM, 100 breast. Ella Hacker, first place in the 100 fly and 100 back. Laura McCarr, first place in the 100 free. Emma Schmidt, 500 free, first place. And Hartung, again, first place off the board. And what do you know, that 200 medley relay team won again. They, with a time under 2 minutes, which is pretty impressive. So, the Cardinals' leading swimmers doing really nice things right off the bat, and that's great to see.
Yeah, Megan Schultz, phenomenal swimmer, and obviously she gets stronger every year, and she's so much fun to watch. And I would think that the first 3 meets were a little bit different, obviously being virtually, and then once you get back to having an opponent at your pool, I think things kind of get a little more normal, and it's nice to see them get that win.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, they're always used to pushing it as hard as they can and swimming the race the way they want to swim. But yeah, having someone right next to you that you can keep an eye on makes a big difference. They have some home cooking this week. They host Blaine on Tuesday and Elk River on Thursday. Cross-country teams have had a couple of meets as well. We start with a duel against Anoka. First place for Andre Kemboy in a time of 18 minutes, 10 seconds. Peyton Martinek is the next Cardinal to finish in 8th. And then Powley, Thoen, and Dunn finished 12, 13, 14, all within 8 seconds. But the Cardinals come up short with a 48 to the Tornadoes 20. Tornadoes 21-34 victory in girls as well. Isa Hoagland second place for the Cardinals in just over 23 minutes. Zoe Hoagland the next finisher in 6th. Lila Gilliard right on her heels. Then it was Cocchiarella in 9th and Lowe in 10th for the Cardinals. Then it was Champlain Park, a closer duel. Cardinals boys finishing with 3 guys in the top 6. Andre Kemboy winning again in 18 minutes, 11 seconds. Peyton Martinek is just 12 seconds back in 3rd place. Then it was Powley in 6th at just over 19 minutes. Thoen and Aaron Casey were in 12th and 13th, just a second apart. Girls finished with 39 points against the Rebels. Isa Hoagland had second place finish. Zoe Hoagland in 6th. Lila Gilliard was 8th. Cocchiarella was 15th, and Vossen right behind her in 16th. And then it was Centennial. Centennial, one of the powers in the area. And when you score 5 players and only add up to 17, you're pretty good. Andre Kemboy still put up a great time, his best time yet, and he still comes up short against the Centennial runners, has to settle for 5th place. Martinek right behind him. Josh Thoen, Powley, and Casey finished 11th through 13th, all within 5 seconds of one another. So that means some good things. Girls finished with Isa Hoagland in 5th and Zoe in 8th. Gilliard finished 12th. Michaela Lowe was 14th, and Cocchiarella was right behind her in 15th. But they also lose in the dual meet. But some players putting up some good times early on and running in bunches, and that always pays dividends for cross country.
Yeah, we always talk about that, and you saw in some of the results when your opponent takes 1st through 4th to start, it puts you in a big hole. And but you're right, just the fact that they're running in packs, they're together, they're trying to increase their time meet after meet, and that's really what you want to see from these athletes.
So yeah, Andre wins the first 2 meets with a time of 18:10, 18:11. He takes 30 seconds off, almost 35 seconds off of his time, and finishes 5th.
Yeah, crazy.
So that tells you what kind of talent they've got at the top of their roster in Centennial. Rum River Tri-Meet for the Cardinals is on Thursday. That's with Andover and Blaine. And then next Friday, they have the Elm Creek Tri, and that's with Centennial and Maple Grove. I did want to mention Mackenzie, and I forgot the first name. I apologize, but first place JV time against Centennial for the girls, but she is a middle schooler and not cleared for varsity yet.
Wow, very cool.
But
very cool. Love
cool
that.
to see young talent coming in and putting up a great time.
Well, and these are the kind of sports too that you see a lot of the younger kids do well in, and they're able to compete at an earlier age than say in other sports.
Correct.
So I love to see it.
Soccer teams started their season on the home turf against the Armstrong Falcons way back on the 31st of August. We're going to start by talking about the boys. They went through a scoreless tie with the Falcons, but that felt a lot better than what happened against Anoka. on the second. They lost to the Tornadoes 7-1, just blown away by the power the Tornadoes have. And bounced back with a 1-1 tie with Andover. Yukon Harmon getting the goal with an assist from Mo Faddy, but still winless at 0-1-2. But ties are better than losses.
The ties are always better than losses. The Cardinals were back home on Thursday the 10th, hosting another team still looking for its first win. The Elk River Elks were 3 games into their season and hadn't scored a goal. It seemed a perfect opportunity for the Cardinals to get off the schneid in front of the home crowd. Cardinals, well, they're going to get a spark very early. Yukon Harmon redirecting the pass from Mo Faddy to the back of the net in the 5th minute. It's the same combo that connected against Andover. Another look, just a perfect loft from Faddy. A great effort by Harmon to get up, get to the header. No chance for the keeper. Gives the Cardinals a big lift early in this contest to get that goal, knowing both teams were struggling to find offense. But the Elks even it up before midway point of the first half. Amos Gabori with a steal that gets him in on the breakaway, and he makes it count. Cardinals stopper Ian Wynn coming up here. You're going to see misjudges it a little bit. Gabori's speed gets him to the ball. Winter gets a piece of the shot but can't make the stop. It's tied at 1-1. Nice goal there. Both teams had some chances. Cardinals with a free kick in the second. Harmon gets to it, but the header is out of bounds, and both teams will have to settle for another tie. And Joe, a tie is better than a win.
Better than a loss.
Better than a loss, I mean.
Not nearly as good as a win.
No.
We like wins.
Yeah.
Well, the road didn't get any easier. Last Tuesday, the Cardinals were on the road to face undefeated Blaine. The Bengals weren't running away with their victories, but they had scored 9 goals and only given up 2 in their first 4 wins. Defense would be crucial, and the Cardinals would have to be opportunistic to have a chance. Blaine wastes no time getting started. Less than 3 minutes into the game, Richie Pollock plays it out front. Tega Coagba turns and scores. Bengals on the board. Decent marking, but Coagba gets enough separation to get it past Winter. Bengals just keep on coming. Cardinals keeper Caleb Winter came up big a number of times with big saves that kept the Cardinals in the game. Great one to punch it up and out of play right there. Cardinals trying to get something going at the other end into the second half. Tomas Mena was around the ball a lot, trying to kickstart the offense. Not a lot on that shot. Pretty easy save, but the looks were limited. Yaya Sibity using his speed to get a scoring chance here, but again, not a ton on the shot and a relatively easy save for Sneen. And the Bengals hold on for their 3rd straight shutout victory and a 1-0 win.
Yeah, and again, it's good squad. Cardinals just having some issues right now scoring goals. And that's we've talked about that before in past seasons, and that's kind of been their bugaboo a little bit is offense, and that's something they need to do in terms to be successful. As they obviously need to score some more goals.
Yeah, and they really talking to new coach Brian Chapman a little bit here and there throughout the season so far. He says, he's really happy with the way the guys are playing. They are concerned about the lack of offense, obviously, but to that point, the only problem, it was a head scratcher what happened against Anoka to get just blown out. Unfortunately, they were handed another relatively lopsided loss by by Spring Lake Park on Thursday, losing that one 6-2. Abdullahi Ali had a goal, as did Ian Wynn. Tomas Mena did have an assist. So first goal of the season for Ali and Wynn, that's good. But I wonder how that went down, because Ian is their stopper.
Right.
Is that on a set play? Is it a direct kick? Have they moved him up to offense to try and kickstart it? I don't know, because that just happened more recently. But, talking to, again, Coach Chapman, who stepped in, had been an assistant, he's pretty happy with how they're playing and what they have.
They have some nice pieces. They really do. And their goaltender, Caleb Winters, he's pretty good. He's kept them in some games as well. So it's just a matter of them kind of gelling, I think, and getting some continuity on offense. And hopefully they'll start playing a little better soccer.
Well, a pair of home contests for the Cardinals this week. They host Totino Grace on Tuesday and will host Osseo on Thursday. Of course, girls soccer team, same schedule as the boys, started at home against Armstrong. They lost to the Falcons 2-0. And then on the second, they lost to Anoka 1-0. So again, a team concerned about not as much offense as they might have liked. They did pick it up against Andover, though, and score a win 3-2 over the Huskies. Molly Terabeza had 2 goals. Bailey Payne scored the other. Assists for Griffith, Ritzenaya, and Knobloch.
Nice to get the win. Well, the Cardinals were hoping to carry some momentum from that win into their next contest when they hosted the winless Elk River Elks. The Elks have been outscored 10-2 in their first 3 games of the year. The Cardinals were struggling for offense, but if they could get going early, they had a chance to get on a streak. It's Elk River that's get the scoring started in the first half, though. Good pressure and deep. The initial shot is blocked, but right to Ava Johnson. No chance for Hedlund on that one. It's 1-0 Elks. Another look coming up as the Elk bring numbers defenders, blocks the shot, but no one left to mark Johnson. She leaves no doubt from there. But the Cardinals answer just a couple of minutes later. Molly Terabeza with a great individual effort and a show of speed. She sprints past the defense, fires it past the sliding keeper to get the goal for the Cardinals. Nice tally there. Well, this run, well, it starts from the Card side, as you're going to see here midfield. Terabeza shows why she's the team's leading scorer. The Elks had the bulk of the scoring chances, and they finally cash in again late in the second. A perfectly lofted ball out of reach of Hedlund. The Elks get the monkey off their back with a 2-1 win over the Cards. And that was a tough one, Joe.
Yeah, and that's one that I'm not sure Coach John Caron was particularly happy with. Nope. Because they felt like that's a team they should compete with and get more chances. Not so much that they lost the game 2-1, but how outplayed they were.
They were.
We talked to them a little bit at the end, and they just didn't have ball possession. Right. They didn't generate opportunities, and did not seem particularly happy with that effort. At least right away. And I'm sure, looking back at it, that's one that all the girls may look at and say, that's one we could have, should have, would have had.
Yeah, got away from a little bit.
Well, the Cardinals started last week's play with a huge challenge facing a Blaine team that is off to a very hot start. Bengals had scored 17 goals in their first 4 games while allowing just 4. They were coming off a 7-0 blowout over Armstrong and were guaranteed to be pumped up to take on their crosstown rivals. Bengals take control from the opening kick. Jordan Pascarella drawing the defense, setting up Jada Kennedy right out front. That gave Blaine a 1-0 lead in the 7th minute. But Coon Rapids able to answer just 5 minutes later. Lucy Wynn works it to get it toward the net. Terabeza has a couple of touches in close, but it's Ava Kerr that comes in to finish it off, and it's 1-1 midway through the first. Blaine, a ton of weapons, and they were all firing. Pascarella able to find herself some room on the wing, perfectly placed shot, puts them up 2-1 at the half. Gets some insurance in the second. Kendall Staton, one of the top players in the state. They get her the ball behind the defense. She slips it past the sliding Hedlund. Her 11th goal of the year. She assisted on the Bengals' last goal as they went on to a 4-1 win.
Yeah, they have a good squad. I mean, and they've got a number of pieces that can score. You saw Pascarella and then Staton, who's, I don't know how she's done since that, but 11 goals in, I think, 5 games. So
correct.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and the Cardinals already have dealt with a little bit of injury. Rory Ritzenaya, one of their top midfielders, sidelined for the next couple of weeks. But the Cardinals come back and get a win on Thursday, blanking Spring Lake Park 1-0. Molly Terabeza had the goal. That's big news. Congratulations for Molly. But 19 saves for Elena Hedlund is amazing. 19 saves for any soccer goaltender is outstanding. For one that just started playing the position this year because the team needed a goaltender, wow.
You can't say enough about her because she decided to step up and play the position because obviously, like you mentioned, she wasn't playing goaltender previously, and they needed somebody there, and she stepped up and said, you know what, I'll take charge, and she's done a really nice job.
She has played well, but 19 saves, hats off.
That's great, absolutely.
Obviously, I'm a little goalie biased too, but the Cardinals also host Tino Grace on Tuesday and Osseo on Thursday. We are still having some issues about getting to some events, so we have nothing this week, But the truck will be out. We will be bringing more Cardinal sports. Just stay with us.
Yes.
So the fall season has finally officially underway because
Yes,
now
love
we've
it.
done a show, right?
We've missed doing it. We've missed everybody, and we hope that they enjoyed our first edition of the COVID era.
And we
of
hope
Sportsnight.
we hope that they will continue to get better because
Yes.
they can't get much worse. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young saying good night.